let's take a look at the Fibonacci's. So if you saw the last video I just made in the Video Academy, I did the inside the Discord, guys. Go check out your Alf. What up, Alf? Go check out your Academy with Step 1. The very new video in Step 1, if you guys go there, is going to be the new video at the very top right here. Step 1, setting up your indicators. Go watch that because that is going to bring us to the new step where we're going to be basically working on including what we call Fibonacci's into there. So what do we use our Fibonacci's for, right? The Fibonacci's is our fourth indicator. This is going to give us targets and range and also allow us to have ideas of where support and resistance are going to happen, and more importantly, where people are going to take profits, because most traders use Fibonacci's to take profits and their targets, right? So let's take a look here and find out what we got. So very first thing we're going to do is overall take a look at a coin. Nothing changes in our process on the overall checking of a coin, right? First thing we do is we go to the daily. We are actually looking at ID here, which doesn't have a lot of data, so it's not going to have any information on daily. Now, if you want more information on a coin that doesn't exist, I'm doing .p. You can get rid of .p and then go to something like Binance. Binance is going to be the oldest exchange that has a coin, so a lot of times Binance is going to have the most information. Now, if it was listed on a different exchange before Binance, it would be on KuCoin, and that's also giving us the same information. So just so you know, you can always change that to get more information. I'm going to keep mine on MEXC right now for the fact that we're actually doing futures, and we're going to keep that. That's where we're moving. So first of all, not enough information on the daily. We're going to jump to the 4 hour, right? 4 hour comes in here, right? Let's see. All right, so here we go. We have a nice little trend here on the 4 hour. We are green, which is nice to see. Let's go to the 2 hour to see if we can get any movement. So now we're starting to see RSIs. We're starting to see volume. And right here, we can see on the 2 hour, we're starting to get a little bit of movement here on the relative strength index. Control Z. They're starting to break free right here, which is the entry of 46.37. So 46.37 is a nice entry for this position here. And it looks like ID is making its move, and looks like ID is going to be going up here. So now let's move to a coin here on the 1 hour to see if we have Fibonacci's. Okay, there we go. So currently, the Fibonacci's are going to act as if, there you go. Can you see my screen now? Guys, if you want to see more of the screen more clearly, like I said, these videos are going to be put into the Discord, and they're currently on YouTube, right? I'm live on YouTube. And to find YouTube, just go to my face underneath my TikTok, and underneath my face, there's a little link. Click that link. That'll take you to this website. When you get to this website, YouTube is right there. You can join YouTube and watch it, or you can go to the Discord, join the Discord and get information later. But let's get back to ID, guys. All right, so now ID is starting to break out. This is where Fibonacci's become very interesting, because we have a line here, right? Here's your 236. The buy zone for a coin going in the opposite directions are always in this little zone here, right? 236. So right now it looks like ID is starting to make its move up, but there is a resistance line here at 49.41, which means somewhere in this area here would be a good pitch for a short position, right? Moving forward, right? So on the 1 hour, right? And Cosmonaut, what up, baby? Cosmo, give me 1 second, bro, and I'll explain to you why I like Cosmos. All right, so first of all, right here, here's your red right here. We see the support. It bounced, it broke. Support, rejected, support. The second rejection was here, right? Trying to break through. Now we got to see if it's going to reject off the top, right? Because normally we go by threes, right? Meaning the third time it normally wins the fight, right? So pairs of threes, right? So let's get in there. So as we go here, we can see that the buy zone currently for a short is in this area here at about 49.41, right? And the reason why we are thinking more of short positions right now is because the longer trade, this trade has already happened, right? This trade started right here for a long at 46.41. We missed that trade. Our Fibonacci's right, are telling us that right now this is a short trade in its mind, meaning that it's looking for it to go short, right? Because normally it wants to hit the 786, which is this target line, and the 618, which is this target line. So these are your two targets here that it wants to hit. So currently ID is in a short position on the 1 hour, right? Now, we don't trade against the 1 hour RSI. Remember we went over that, right? So the very first thing is if the RSI is going in one direction, that's the trade we look to get into. So right now, if we're looking to get into high leverage trades, this RSI is moving up, right? And since it is moving up, that means that we would be looking for this to reach its point of 49.30, which would be the profit price, right? That's where we're looking for this to go up to 49.30, right? So now let's move to the 30-minute to see if it actually is in sync with the 1 hour, right? And as we can see here, the 30-minute is still playing a long position on ID, right? Now, where did this long position enter, right? Remember we talked about this already. This long position entered right here at 46.39, the bottom of this kill zone. This is your buy zone right here, guys, your buy zone, right? As you buy across here, this is your buy, you start buying in here, you're looking for it to break through in this golden pocket, the 382. It is trying to break through that pocket right now. So if it can get above this pocket and sit here, then the next move is to this level here, which is the 48.76, and then profit would be 49.43. Now, because the 1 hour says that it's still looking at a short position, that means that I wouldn't be looking to do a long position from this late in the game. See how late this is? This is where you should have entered in this zone. It's already above that zone, right? It's already up here. Meaning that the most it can do is go up to this gold or maybe this. So for me, this is kind of like being in the middle of a trade. I don't want to trade in the middle of a trade, but this also means that right here, if it does reach the top of this golden pocket, it is a 1.6% move, right? Now, considering that this is a 1.6% move, the next thing that I want to do is go to my MEXC, and I want to see if MEXC has ID, and I want to see what the leverage is on ID. So go over to whatever exchange you're using. I use MEXC, and it looks like that I can go up to a 125% leverage. Oh my God. So I can actually, we trade with the 1 hour RSI. So we are pushing up long on the 1 hour RSI, but because of it, the indicators are still showing that it's in the reverse section. It's going to be weaker right now until that reverses, right? So we want to be careful. All right, we can actually trade up to 125% on MEXC. That is ridiculous, right? So knowing that, this 1% move actually becomes very credible now. So what do I want to see here is now that I know that the 30-minute is still pushing up and the 30-minute RSI is pushing up, right? So you guys see these RSIs right here? These are relative strength indexes, right? The number two thing I want, guys, the number 20 max. Ugh, dude, MEXC, bro. 20 max, that's nothing. You always want to trade on the 30, 40s, right? Now, the second thing here is that I have to be very careful because the 1 hour, right? Let's go back and check it again. Check it again. We always keep back and checking, right? Go back and look every 5 minutes. The 1 hour still says that this is a short. Notice how your Fibonacci's are still heading down. The other thing you need to look at is that you don't have positive volume right now. You're still in the middle. So no positive volume. Now you go to the 30-minute. What do you have on the 30-minute, right? No positive volume, and it's still going up, right? So this is kind of like, this is a sideways move, right? It can break down, it can break up. This is not a good trade right now. Vladimir! This is an in-between trade, right? Meaning that I would be looking short here because I didn't get into the long down here. And I still don't have positive volume over here. I don't have any positive volume, right? Hey, yo, baby. So we don't have positive volume here, right? So it could have a push here, but we need it to get above here, and we need the 1 hour to change, right? So this is the golden pocket, the 382. If it gets above the golden pocket and sits on top of there, then we would look with positive volume. We would look for this trade to go up to this level here. But until then, I have to look at the 382 as a resistance line and not a support line, right? As a resistance line, not a support line. Right? So we have to look at this support line as a resistance line until it breaks through, right? So if this gets rejected, what, babe?
Can we leave in an hour? Or are we waiting on Leon?
We can leave in 30 minutes.
Are we picking him up?
What do you need an hour? Can you do 30? 30 is fine, babe. All right, so this line right here, this is a resistance line, right? So right now we're getting resistant. 1, 2. This is the third resistant. This is the third time it's trying to break through, right? What happens on the third time? It normally goes the other direction, right? So we would be looking for this to come back down to 46.38. So this should be a short position, right? So now that we kind of made a decision that this looks more like it's going to go short, let's go look at the 15-minute to see where that is at right now, right? So currently the 15-minute also says it's a short. Look at the Fibonacci's. Still showing short. It wants to go down. It has a green moon. It already pumped, right? It already pumped off the green moon, and the RSI is heading down, right? So this RSI is on its way down. Let's go back to the 30. We didn't even look there. The 30-minute RSI is getting to a top position right here. See this? Starting to get to that little 80 line. So this is going to get weaker right here. So this looks like this is going to become a short, guys. So ID looks like it's going to become a short because of the resistance that it's facing. And the 15-minute RSI is coming down right here. So this looks like we're going to have a pullback, right? So now the RSIs or the Fibonacci's are also saying that this is a short. And this is the buy zone. Remember we just talked about this? Here's your buy zone right here. This is the buy zone for the short in this little zone here. Right here at 47.78 looks like it's going to be a short. And it's looking to come all the way back down here. And this is where we're looking to get profits on this, is basically bouncing off of this Fibonacci right there. So that's what we're looking for. That is our profit area right here, 45.51. So we're looking for this to come back down and actually hit that. So now let's further this up and say, okay, this looks like a short. Let's go to the 5-minute and let's see what happens on the 5-minute, right? Now on the 5-minute, guys, what do we have? The 5-minute has what? The 200 moving average, guys. Look at the 200 moving average, right? It's a resistance line right above the 618, guys. Replay that back for me. 1 Earth, 21 cents. All right, man. Okay. So now, here's your resistance line, right? That's another support line. And what did we talk about watching the support line? Which way is the 200 moving average going? It's heading down, guys, right? Since it's heading down, this is the resistance line, and this is rejecting off of the 618, right? This is a short, right? So this is where you would get into a short, because now what do you have? You have a red moon and you have the 5-minute RSI going down. This is where you would enter a short at 47.84, and you'd be looking for it to touch its bottom and take profits. Where is that profit at? Down here in this zone here, 45.91, or at least in this area here, right? So you can put a price here and say that maybe it retraces right to there. And now you take a look and say, is this worth my money? Right? Let me see if it's worth the money. Take a look here and see if the short position at the 47.84 makes us any money. If we go down just to this line here, right? Now see how this just goes to that resistance line right there, which is the buy zone for ID. Take a look right there. That's 1.42%, bro. That's 1.4. If you're shorting this with a 50x, you're going to make 50% on this short. Holy shit, man. You're going to make 50% on this short, guys. That is how you use your Fibonacci's right there. 15 minutes says we're rejecting down, and then the 5 minute has a line there. So this is a little fight here, but overall it looks like it's getting weaker here. So now all you got to do is when you're in here is you just put your stop loss, right? You can put your stop loss right here on this 200 moving average, right above that. So probably like halfway up. So your stop loss would be right above here, right? Right above the 200 moving average, which is right about there. There's your stop loss right there. Now me personally, I just put a 30% to 50% stop loss anyways, and then I ride it out. So there's your stop loss, there's your entry, here's your target, 47.91. Here your second target is 45.91. That's a big target right there. All right. So this is how you can use what's called support lines, resistant lines. We're adding this into the academy because I wanted you guys to have ideas of what's being rejected, where it's going to reject, why is it rejecting, etc. And this will allow you to see what we're seeing, right? The moving, I just use the 200 moving average, right? I love the 200 moving average because it's the hardest thing to break. It rejected there the second time. See the push, comes down, rejects, and now it's coming back down. This rejection right here, so one rejection, two, see one rejection, two reject. Now let me open this up so you guys can see. All right, right here. Here's your first candle, right? See, it breaks above the 200 right here, right? It falls down. Right? First it does, it sits on it, which is good. This is a good example right here. It sits on the 200. Looks good. The next candle falls below the 200. That's bad. Then it goes back. It rejects. It can't break it. It rejects again and can't break it. The third time it comes down and rejects again, right? And that's where the fight starts, right? So that's kind of like letting you know, like, this is where you should be getting into shorts. The short you should be in is right up here. I mean, if you were actually watching this coin, the short that you would be in is 48.06. That's the real short right there, right? This is why it's important to watch the coins that you're getting into so that you can see these patterns, right? So right now, this is just fighting to stay alive. But the moment these Fibonacci's go reverse, right? Let's see the 3 minute, right? Let's see what the 3 minute looks like. So right here, it's fighting to stay alive. You see the Fibonacci's holding up, trying to stay up. It's fighting to stay alive in this little zone, but it's fighting these on the 3 minute. It's trying to break the 200 moving average again, right? There it goes again. It's going to be hard to break above this moving average, right? Like that just gives me more confidence that it's going to fail because that's a moving average right there on the 3 minute. It's going to be hard to break that, right? So more than likely it's going to fall through that, and that looks like another target zone for us to hit is going to be this target right here again, once again. We're going to be looking for this target right here. All right, so now that we see all this happening, it looks like it's going to fight through here. It's going to be a little bit of a battle. Let's go check out our 15 minute again because that's what we're looking for right here. Here's our 15 minute. Our 15 minute is still on a short position here. All right, now the entry here for you guys on a long, right? So let's go back to the indicators. Now we can kind of see the indicators. We're getting a pullback here, and that's what our Fibonacci is telling us, right? Now let's go back to the Academy. Where's the Academy at? The Academy has a couple of different trades that you guys are making here, right? If you use the 15-minute moon right here, right? Here's your 15-minute moon. Here's your 15-minute trend. This is your entry right in here. Let's see how you did. This is why I like using the 30-minute, because I like to stay out of these, but these are still decent trades here. Okay, 15-minute moon, and we're looking for a 15-minute green trend, which happened here, which means you enter on this candle. And let's see how we did on that candle. Okay. So you still got your 1%, which is great, right? So you guys see we got a 1% on our 15-minute candle. This is why you have to take profits, guys, anytime you see that 1% move. So that's a 30% gain, another hit. I like to trade off of the 30-minute because I like these cycles to kind of go through, right? So as we go here, does this have enough data yet? No, it's not enough data yet. Okay, so here on our 30-minute, right, we have our green trend. We have our little lines here. We're still looking where it's trying to push up. It's got to fight through these little lines here. It has to fight through the 382. So right now on the 30-minute, that's the fight right there. It has to get through 47.91 and sit on top of that before you can kind of go long. So on a 30-minute, I can't go long on a 30-minute until I have that actually get above this line here. It's got to get above this. It's got to sit on top of that 382. Now, problem is while this is all happening, notice how your relative strength index is starting to bend down. The relative strength index is getting weaker as this goes on. And that's probably going to be the death of this, where this comes down and gets a red moon. Hopefully these moons start showing up. There's just not enough information on these coins right here to get to where we're getting enough data. But it looks like the RSI is starting to come down here. The volume is still not positive, right? So what do we always say on the 30-minute? We need positive volume. We don't have that yet. So this long is not IMAX, what up, man? We just don't have enough data here to go long yet, right? So you would be patiently waiting here, right? So the good news is that you have a pullback coming, right? So you should be, if you're a long person here, you should be very interested in how far this pulls back so you can get a better entry for a position. But for me, I can't go long on this right now because I have to wait for everything else to happen. I need positive volume. I need this to break above here. Right? So that's your buy zone, right? So the buy zone was way down here. This is your buy zone. So this is another thing, guys, about being patient. This trade right here, we can't get into this trade even though there's a lot going on here because this is already halfway done, right? So we can't enter any trades here until this finishes its cycle here, unfortunately. Now, as a coin overall, it looks good. Looks like ID is going to make a move. It looks like ID wants to pump up to its number here. So let's take a look at the 1 hour to see kind of like a target. Right? The 1 hour is still short, right? Overall, still short. So 1 hour is still bearish. 30-minute is showing a little bit of love here. It's looking to get into an area 786, right? So it's trying to get to this area here of 49.49. So that's where you're at right now. Now, unfortunately, we are not on a 30-minute trade. Where would we trade? We'd be getting in on a green moon, which would have been way back here if we had them, or on the buy zone, which would be this area right here. Remember, I tell you guys inside your Fibonacci's, after there's a push and there's a pullback, this is the buy zone on the pullback right here. So we would be entering somewhere in this zone here, and then we would be fighting this right here to get above this. But this trade has already happened, right? So the first thing you got to get into your mind is that once a trade happens, just move on and wait for it to reset, right? So the next trade here is going to be either the Fibonacci's on the 30-minute reverse and become negative, or we break above the resistance and the support line of the 382. But either way, something has to happen right here. This is the fight. Now, how long is this going to take? This could take 2 hours, right? So right here, we're fighting this resistance line. And the fact that I'm leaning more towards a short is simply because the longer it takes to try to break through something, the weaker the buyers come, or the sentiment. People start to give up hope and start saying, shit, this looks like the top. And they start selling because they want to start getting their profits now, or setting their stop losses tighter because they see that the resistance is coming, and that will cause the scaling to go back. So currently right now, guys, I'm looking at this, and personally I'm thinking to myself that it's just giving up here. It's getting weaker as it goes forward. So it has to, this little zone here, it's a dead man zone. There's no short, there's no long. There's just waiting to make the short decision, right? And the short is going to happen. Remember, we trade on the 30-minute. These indicators, if they flip upside down, right? If they flip upside down, meaning that they think it's going to go short, we wait for one last push, right? And we try to get the push before the fall, right? One last push, which would be probably 48.08 as a short position, right? 48.08. Try to get that last push, and then it's going to come down, right? But right now it's just getting weaker by the minute, right? So that's where I would look at that, man. I'd be looking for a short in this position. These zones up here are the highest zones, 48, 46. And now we're just rejecting off this little area here. And eventually this 15-minute should give up on the RSI. So that's how you use your Fibonacci's, guys, to give you an extra idea of what's happening. And right now the 15-minute is showing that it's thinking that a short is bigger than a long. So until that changes too, the 15-minute has to go back to a upsided Fibonacci line to let us know that the buyers are starting to win the volume game, so we can start thinking of the long from that resistance line to the support 382 all the way up to 786. But right now with the Fibonacci's showing that it's still expecting it to go down, we have to be patient here. We have to let this kind of like work out here. So guys, if you want to get a little more alpha, if you want to learn a little more, ask some questions, figure out what's going out, go to the Discord, jump in the Discord, guys. It's right here. Just go to the simple thing. Just go to my TikTok. Underneath my TikTok, there's a little link. Click this little link right here. And when you go to that link, the TikTok is the very first one right there. It says join the VC Crypto Academy, Crypto Nation. That's it. And that's all you got to do, guys. And you'll be inside of there. But this is an interesting coin here, but right now it's in no man's land. It's fighting, and if let's say we pull out of here, and let's back this up so you can have another ideal. If you want to do trends, go to your 4 hour, right? So let's go to our 4 hour and let's do a trend. There's not a lot of information here, but these trends are very simple to draw. You would take a trend line right here, all right? Draw your trend line. You would go to the top of the wick of this candle here, right? And we're going to draw this little trend just to get an idea of what we're looking at. And it looks like this wick to the top of that wick, right? Let's get our little trend line here. All right, there we go. Okay. Highest green wick, and now let's move that across the next green wick so we can start getting an idea here what we have here. Okay, so that's what we're looking at as a first trend line there, right? The next thing you want to do here, guys, is put yourself up, get yourself your bottom trend, which is going to be this little red trend here, right? and we're going to go to the bottom of this red trend here, right? And that's going to be our little trend line right here. So this is your little triangle, as they like to say, right? Now let's get some trends, ray lines, and let's just kind of get to where our support lines, right? So the very first support that we see a lot of this coin is starting to get through is basically this right here, right? So you can see the bottom of this wick, that wick. This has been a good support line and a support line moving forward, which also makes it a resistance line, right? Now the next line for that, let's get another ray line, is going to be where it starts to sit on top of it, which is about here, right? So that's the next line of resistance or support if it breaks through there. See how that works right there, guys? See these two little wicks down here, right? You put that little line across there, wick, wick, candle sit here, rejection here. So that's a nice little line. This trend, bottom of this wick, bottom of that wick, right? As you go across, where does that go? Basically, this wick was sitting on top of it, that wick rejected. So now we have a nice little setup here of resistance and support lines that we can take a look at, and that'll give us an idea of what we're working with. And then the next one, that if this falls down, it's going to be right about here, right? So you want to have about 3 lines on the 4 hour, just so you have an idea of where you're going or what you could do. So that's our 4 hours right there. Okay, 8 of the $15. Getting crazy there, big dog. All right. So now that we have that set up there, guys, let's take a look and kind of like break it down. Let's go to the 1 hour to get some more trends in there. So once you build your trend lines on your 4 hour, guys, yeah, ID's brand new, I guess, man. I've never even traded it before. I'm just looking at it because the guy asked me to. So now let's go look at the 1 hour and let's see as far as like what we have on the 1 hour that we can kind of make some trend lines on, and just to double check some trend lines. And here we can see these are pretty close to what we're looking for. We have these candles done. We have these candles here. There's another support line here at the top of this candle right here. All right, so that's kind of where there seems to be a lot of resistance right here on top of this candle here. There's some resistance here, and let's see, there seems to be support and resistance on this line right here. Right, so there we go. So there's our lines. That kind of gives us an ideal. Pretty easy to do. Okay. Sure, drop 10%. That is cool. Yeah, I mean, you know, we're just kind of like getting in here. So, all right. So now that we have our support lines, right? Now, the reason why I drew these support lines, guys, is because a lot of times guys are like, yo, you need to work off of simple support and resistance lines, right? This is how you draw the lines, right? So you should all be doing this when your chart. You have plenty of time to do it while you're looking at your coin. Draw those out so that you have some ideals of where you're going to have targets of resistance and support. And notice here, this went up to this target, fell all the way down to this target, ran all the way up to this target, fell back down to this target, ran back up to this line, came back down, right? And it's sitting on this line here, right? So that's kind of where we're at. Now, the beautiful thing about Fibonacci's, right, guys, is that after you draw these lines, you can kind of see that they're going to compare with your Fibonacci's, right? Notice how right here, your lines are comparing with your Fibonacci lines, right? So that way, if you drew those lines, what you can do is basically slide them right into your Fibonacci lines. So you say, oh, the actual line should be there. That's correct. This line is fine. This line is a support line right there. That's in between there. That's fine. If there's a line real close to a Fibonacci line, just put it inside there. This is in the halfway. That's good. All right, so we look good here, man, guys. We look really good here on our fibs. The only difference is this is going up a little bit here. We need to correct these out. You can do that on the 4 hours. All right, let's go back to the 4 hours. And all I want to do here on the 4 hours is just fix some of my lines here. When you use the ray, right, if you click on the ray, you grab this little middle circle You just have to, you have to take the ray, you just have to line it up to where it's straight. If you do a trend line, it's already straight, guys. If you use a ray, there's a little line in between you have to use. All right. Okay, that should be, I think it's about right. No, this one is the, all right, so go to your daily, straighten out your ray lines, and there we go. So now we're pretty straight on everything. Everything looks pretty good here, guys. So now you guys are seeing how to build a nice little chart, everything, so you can have some ideas of what's happening. All right, so now that we got that all set up there, guys, was doing it first manually. Now on TradingView, going to kick some ass, baby. I'm glad you guys are learning today, guys. So now you guys can get a little more, you know, alpha there. And now we can go here and basically take a look at our lines and see where we're at. So currently, guys, let's go to our 1 hour to kind of see what we're working on. As we can see here, we're starting to come up this little line here, and we're working our way up this ascending triangle right here. And we do have a resistance line here set right across here, which is that 4808, right? And that's the line that we're having a tough time with breaking through there, right? As we can see, we're having a very tough time breaking through this. And this is also the top of the Fibonacci's at 4952. So we're starting to see we're getting weak here, but we are building to this little section here, right? So let me get rid of these prices. All right, delete, 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 delete. All right, so now let's dig into the chart here. Let's take a closer look. So as you can see here, we're starting to move our way to this ascending triangle right here, right? Resistance, resistance, which means when we get in this zone here, we're going to make a decision. We're either going to break through and start making our move up, or we're going to break down in here and start moving down, right? Now the problem is our Fibonacci's are still headed down. So which means it looks like we're going to have a more of a downward turn than an upward, right? So now let's move over to the 30 minute to see where we're at as far as like what we're doing on this triangle. We came out of it, we came back in, now we're bouncing off of it. We're coming up on our Fibonacci. Once again, guys, we're still fighting this Fibonacci. Fibonacci, Fibonacci. Doesn't look like we're going to win this, and eventually we're probably going to break down. Now the difference is these Fibonacci's are still headed up, so it's still in an indecisive move. Now let's move to the 15 minute, right? The 15 minute says, man, it looks like we're going down. So the 15 and the 1 hour agree. And now looking at our lines and our Fibonacci's, our 200 moving average is still going down. Our Fibonacci area is right here. So I mean, this still looks like we're in a downward move, guys. So this does look like it's going to fall through this channel right here. And then we should see this actually retrace. And the retracement is probably going to be around this line here, 46.91, right? And then maybe even down to this here. But if this turns into a red trend, right, this 15 minute goes red trend, then or a red moon, you're going to see this further go down, guys. So since these Fibonacci's on the 15 minute are headed down, then that's why we're playing the shorter side. And because the 1 hour is also headed down, that just lets us know that the 30 minute right now is just playing a bounce. But it should turn into the Fibonacci, should reverse and have a short on there, guys. All right? Woo! All right, guys. I hope this helps, man. I got to get ready. I got to go do some lunch and everything. I'll make more videos on how to help use your Fibonacci's. Now that you understand how to do these little lines and everything, this should give you an idea of where you're at, what's breaking out, what channels to look for. And when it goes through those channels or those support lines, you can be more confident in your trade with higher leverage that you're going in the right direction. And these will also give you targets of what you're looking for as we move forward. I'll make more videos on the targets and etc., guys. Appreciate you guys watching, man. Pay attention to what you're doing. Use your Fibonacci's, guys. And yeah, ID is probably going to go down for another 10-15%.